What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of Trainer Talks with Trainer Dave. I'm here joined by my 5th guest on the podcast, Madi Jenkins. Maddie, appreciate you being here today.
Of course.
Yeah, I guess we'll kind of share, maybe talk about like our relationship with each other. I mean, obviously, I think we've connected through social media.
Yeah.
I think we've been following each other for a while. Obviously, I got to train a lot of your Derby hooligans. So
I love you guys, but you also irritate me.
they're definitely listening right now. So that, and I think we're also kind of in very kind of similar positions right now. I mean, we both started our own thing, but it's also like we've been in the industry for the past 3 or 4 years.
How old are you?
24.
Okay, so you're younger than me.
Okay, so you're 25.
Yeah.
Okay,
No
cool.
one would guess that, though.
Yes, same here. So, but I guess if you could kind of give us a little background on yourself.
How far back do you want me to go?
I say whatever you think is best.
I mean, okay, so I currently right now I own a business called Grit and Grace. It's G&G Training LLC. It's personal training and coaching business. I'm also the Derby High School powerlifting coach. I've been doing fitness, air quotes, lifting since I was a junior in high school. And the reason that I got started with it is because I was always a competitive athlete. I cheered, did softball, volleyball, track, and then I was a competitive cheerleader. At nationals, I ended up tearing my ACL and my meniscus. I've had 3 invasive knee surgeries. And with those knee surgeries, I was on crutches for 8 weeks. Went through physical therapy, and my physical therapist was like, strength training is what you need to do. So at the time, I was always a part of the football program, the Derby football program. My dad's the middle school coach, and he's always helped with the high school weightlifting program. I got in with the O-line coach. I was also dating an O-line player at the time, so that kind of helped me get in there. And I started what they call hoggy lifting, and noticed that my therapy, my progression with my leg strength after having 3 invasive knee surgeries increased significantly. And from there, I fell in love with just seeing my strength increase. And, you can add in I've battled body dysmorphia. I've battled, bullying growing up. So all of the, usual background that you get when you have someone that's passionate about anything fitness related. That's kind of what I've gone through. So.
Bullet points I wrote is, you're a personal trainer. You do some online coaching.
Yes.
You're the owner of Grit and Grace, so you're a business owner.
Yep.
Obviously you are a competitive powerlifter.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to add that in there. Also, elite competitive powerlifter. Yeah. Yes. I got 4th at nationals, my first nationals. I'm going back next year. That's already in the plans. Awesome. We've already got a outline for this coming year. So training off season, I'm having to take pretty seriously. Not that I wasn't at the beginning, but we've got some pretty big goals my coach and I set in place.
Nice.
So
that's awesome. Competitive powerlifter, also a powerlifting coach, like you said.
Yep.
And then you were a former PE teacher.
Yes, I was.
Nice. So jack of all trades. All right. So we'll go into your business ownership with Grit and Grace. So why did you choose to start your own business?
So I actually love telling this story. So I'm going to I'm also a mom. So
okay.
putting
yes,
that in
that's
there
right.
too.
Yes, I forgot.
I'm also a mom
yep.
to a 2.5-year-old. He's my whole world, along with my husband. Obviously, I have to add him in there.
Yeah.
But so I've actually always had this dream of owning a gym, owning a personal training business. And I went through Wichita State with my exercise science degree. I was actually accepted in the athletic training program from the get-go. I shadowed our athletic trainer at the high school, so I fell in love with anything athletics. And after I also was a WSU cheerleader. So once nice. I got the 2 schedules, I realized I couldn't mix.
Right.
So I switched my degree to psychology, went a year into psychology, and that's when I started competing in powerlifting. And so I switched it to exercise science. I had my minor in psychology. COVID happened, so I've had this dream of opening up my own gym or just following through with the personal training business, but then COVID happened, and the day of my last final, it's Andy's class, strength and conditioning class.
Yeah.
The day of my last final, I took a pregnancy test.
Oh, wow.
An hour before, and it was positive as can be. There were no ands, ifs, or buts. And an hour later, I had to go take the final, got a 97%.
There you go. Nice.
And my whole world kind of changed. Plans got put on the back burner. I kind of accepted the fact that that dream would never come true, and I was okay with it. And come to find out, God had different plans. I went through unemployment, obviously, after COVID. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I substitute taught for a while because I've always grown up in the school system. My dad's a teacher, a middle school teacher, so I've been in the classroom forever, my entire life. And that's when I got the position as the PE teacher. And it was 3 days before my wedding day, the principal called me and offered me the position.
Oh, wow.
I had went through four 4 interviews of different positions and got declined. Obviously, this was the last one. The original PE teacher that I've subbed for a lot called me first, and she let me know that she was moving districts, and not 5 minutes later, the principal called me, offered me the position.
Nice.
So I taught for 2 years. Alongside the same time, I was still personal training and coaching. I was doing it for free.
Oh, wow.
Along with going to school.
Wow,
I was going to school to
crazy.
get my master's, personal training on the side, and being a PE teacher and a mom, and powerlifting at the same time.
Wow.
And last year, I started to become unhappy, and it wasn't because of teaching. I love teaching. I love being with the kids. I love making an impact. And but I was getting burnout. You've talked about burnout before, starting to get burnout. And I actually started dabbling with the thought, and my husband and I sat down. We kind of ran through the numbers. We sat down with our accountant, and she gave us the green light. And I kind of turned to my husband, and he goes, "If it's what you want to do, I'm going to support you all the way."
Nice.
And here we are today.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Things are just unfolding.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, why not just become an employee at a gym or become an independent contractor? Like, why do you want to start your own thing?
I've done that for so many years.
Yep.
I did that since I was 18.
Yep.
My first, so Derby Rec Center, you know what that is.
Yes, I do, of course.
I grew up in that place. They've known me since I was my dad worked in the fitness center. So when I was younger, I was in the fitness center.
Wow.
And then once I turned 14, 15, I was a lifeguard. I umped. And then I became the fitness specialist upstairs. I helped run the fitness center. Sorry, the mic is starting to come down. I helped run the fitness center. And then I got my certification, was a personal trainer. Along that, I was also assistant with the sports side. So I was helping run like softball tournaments and stuff like that. And then once I was at WSU, I moved gyms to Top Crop.
Yep.
I was an independent trainer through Top Crop.
Yep.
And I mean, I loved it, absolutely loved it, but I don't know why. I just kind of got that. I want to go on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
It just,
I hear you.
It wasn't just like, I wasn't stubborn, like I have to be on my own. It just happened. I just kind of the pieces all fell together.
Yeah, for sure. Why did you name your business Grit and Grace?
I was thinking of the answer to that question.
There you go.
So I work with a lot of moms. And one of my biggest weaknesses is I do not give myself grace. And I feel like in the fitness industry, the wellness industry, people think they have to go balls to the wall. And they have to do everything at once.
Yeah.
And if they miss one day, it's the end of the world. I can't tell you the amount of people, the amount of clients that I've had to talk off a ledge because they miss one day and they think their progress is diminishing.
Right.
And having to teach that lesson to give yourself grace, life happens. If you cannot sustain a healthy lifestyle along with like taking the steps to reach your goals, you're going to burn yourself out. It's going to be a mental game rather than a physical game.
Yep.
So I added the grace in there. And obviously in the same breath, it goes back and forth. When you're in your training, when you're going through with your nutrition and your workouts, you have to have some grit. You can't just go through the motions.
Yeah.
So it's finding that happy medium, that balance.
Nice.
So that's why I put the two words and put it together. And
That's awesome. I think that's a good name. Were you aware that there's some places called like Grace and Grit?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It just kind of fell together.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things. I'm not trying to steal names.
No, for sure.
Like I had
No.
just thought of it and we Googled it. Cause, I mean, becoming an LLC, I had to check to make sure that the name wasn't taken.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, there is actually a printing company, my accountant told me, that is Grit and Grace here in Wichita.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I made it G&G Training
LLC.
LLC.
I gotcha.
And again, like I had no idea there was other. I just was like, that's perfect. I
Yeah.
love those two character traits is what I live by,
sure.
and that's what I want to implement with my trainings.
Where is your gym currently located?
It is located in Derby, Kansas.
Nice. So right now you're operating out of your garage gym.
Yes, I am.
How has that been? Like, do you feel like there's been any barrier, or do you think it's been? I mean, because I know that I can see how it would work well for you. I mean, you're technically not paying rent. I mean, obviously you're paying rent on your house, but your profit margins are probably pretty good, and then also. Obviously, you have a kid, so that probably helps you out, not having to get daycare and stuff like that.
Well, so we are so incredibly blessed. My mother-in-law is who watches.
Okay,
nice.
Nice.
So because she fully understands and supports that, like, I need my time, and my time is I'm working. Like, it's not just me going and, doing my own thing. I'm working. So that helps too. But we've always been in a garage, aside from being, when I worked at Top Crop or at the DRC.
Yeah.
We started in the garage when COVID happened. We were at a duplex in Wichita, my husband and I. and it wasn't the best part of town. But when COVID happened, my cousin, my brother, his siblings would all come over every single day, and we'd lift together, and we called it the Jenkins Garage or the Jenkins Gym.
Yeah.
And from there, it kind of sprouted, and the garage feel kind of stuck with us.
Nice.
And it's something, when I first started the business, I was kind of embarrassed to talk about, because when I told people it's out of my garage, I didn't want people to not take me seriously because it's not in the gym.
Right.
But then my husband was like, you need to stop being so embarrassed of where you're coming from.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's where you started. That's where I started. It was in the garage. That's something to be proud of. So, yeah, that's it. I'm proud of it. It's going to be sad to move.
Yeah.
There's going to be barriers and obstacles wherever I'm going to
for sure.
be. But
I think, and I posted something about this today, it's like, and I've made the same mistake myself, is like getting hung up on the location and where you're at, what equipment do you have access to, but it's like, at the end of the day, I think people are coming because of you, and they like you, and you've kind of positioned yourself as an authority that you can solve a problem, and that's why people come. We'll talk about your education. So you got your degree from WSU in exercise science.
Yep.
How applicable do you think this degree is in your grind as a trainer / business owner?
I learned a lot, and I've listened to your other podcasts.
Yeah.
But
everybody's got their own opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a learner. Like, I love learning new things. Every single week, I'm like, I've like set time aside for me to do my research. I'm a researcher.
Nice.
When I was going through pregnancy, I knew I was going to have a C-section because I had difficulties, X, Y, and Z. Anyway, so I researched the crap out of coming out of a C-section and progressing and moving forward and being able to go back into strength training. So I do a lot of my research on my own, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with the others that have been on this podcast.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that we went through, I don't remember.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's kind of the basics.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm so used to it, and it's so repetitive, and it's so conditioned into my mind. I don't see it as something I've learned anymore.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense. I think sometimes it's like, it's so basic, like, or else it's like weights, like the exercise physiology class, like knowing, I don't know, like when I went through my CSCS, you had to know like the sliding filament theory and how muscles contract. Like, again, that's cool, but like how I don't think I've ever, really explained that to a client. So
that's funny you bring that up, because I started using muscle groups when I first started training. And when I was first with my husband, I would say the muscle groups, and he goes, I need you to say it, Barney.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Your thigh. This part of your leg.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's beneficial to us in our mind, in our brain, but when it comes to explaining it to a client or to an athlete,
yeah, exactly.
You kind of have to say it so that they understand it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what really separates a good trainer from a great trainer is like, how can you communicate something to, somebody who doesn't know anything about exercise in a way that they can understand and buy in.
Yeah.
Definitely agree there.
And there's so many factors too about that. I've realized, and so I do the micro goal. You just joined the group.
I did. Yes, Facebook. I did. I joined it.
So every week I make them set a micro goal because they get so overwhelmed with everything.
I'm sure.
And I'm like, take a step back, one thing at a time.
One step at a time.
Yes, because if you start out and you have to do all 10 of these things, you're not going to end up doing it for the long haul. So
definitely. What about certifications? What certifications do you have, and how applicable do you think these are?
I have the ACE certification.
ACE, okay, cool.
I wanted to get my postpartum specialty license for a while, but it's pure chaos right now.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, for sure.
So I haven't been able to do that. But I mean, it helped me when I first started out, for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
But I will say that I think I've learned more on my own.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm going to shout out to Clayton.
Nice,
at Natural Wellness Physiology, because I've learned so much with him too in the different movements. But I also think as a trainer, we learn on our own.
Oh, 100%.
Too.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that everybody's different.
Yep.
With their movements, physiology, the way I squat is not going to be the way you squat.
Shout out to Clayton. And he was obviously actually the episode 3 of the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Is like he, so we were in. He did an assessment on me, and we actually both went to that continued education with Anna Woods.
Yeah.
And we talked about like you shouldn't really say like cue chest up because it can promote
your interior tilt.
Yes, right.
Yep.
And I told Clayton, I was like, well, you're going to think I'm bad for this. I was like, I kind of say that a lot with some of my athletes because some of my athletes squat and they look like they're doing a good morning.
Right.
And he told me, he's like, no, that's not necessarily wrong. I think everybody needs a different cue.
Yes.
So that's a good point. Like every coach is going to cue differently. Every coach is going to program differently. Every coach has a different personality and coaching style, but it's not necessarily wrong. It's honestly, I tell it on the clients. It's like, find what the best fit is for you and buy in.
Right. Well, and you've talked about, I've listened to a few of his podcasts. You've talked about competition,
right?
Seeing other trainers as competition. You just said it. There's so much clientele
for sure.
in the area to go around, and someone who may not suit me or work best with me will work better with you.
Right.
So that's you kind of have to see it that way.
Yeah,
we're not trying to compete against other trainers. We're trying to be the best trainer we can be for our individual clients.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
We'll go into that more.
Sorry,
that is the hot take, and I'm always interested.
Oh, dang it!
No, it's okay. We'll go more in depth later.
Okay.
Lastly, how long have you actually been training clients for as a trainer?
Since I was 18.
18, so 7 years.
7 years. Oh my.
Wow, that's awesome. That's for how young you are. Like that's that's good because
I didn't realize that until I took a step.
And I'm just like 18. Like that's early. I think Anna Kate started at 18.
Yeah.
I started at 20, which some people will think was young, but I mean 18. That's that's awesome.
Yeah, I did it. I didn't take payment. I did it all for free for
still,
the longest time.
That's
Kate Jones will tell you about that. She got so mad at me when I told her that when I first
I heard for the woodworks from Clayton.
Oh, good. Yeah,
he was mad about that too. I'm sure a lot of people were, but
once they found out.
Yes.
Yep.
No. But I mean, that's also good for you. Like, at least, I mean, you weren't doing it for the money. You were doing this out of passion. And there are trainers that do this for the money.
Right.
And that, I think it's kind of a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
I think finding that balance between helping people, but also making money.
It's hard to do.
It is. Yeah.
It's hard to do.
For sure. We'll talk about your teaching background. So how long, so you taught for 2 years?
Yep.
Do you feel like you've been a PE teacher and a teacher? Do you feel like that helped you become a better coach / trainer?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to miss the relationships that were built.
Oh, for sure. I bet. Yeah.
Because a lot of my athletes, my current powerlifters at the high school, I had them as students.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that relationship started at a teacher-student level and then has progressed to coach-athlete level. They call me Mama Maddie too.
Oh, yeah.
Like they know this. I have several hats.
Yeah.
So when they come to me, my first question is, which hat am I putting on today? Like,
Yeah.
which hat do you need me to put on right now before you go forward with what you're about to ask me?
Yeah.
But yes, 100% I think it did.
Do you think trainers can benefit from having a W-2 job, like in addition to building their business on the side, kind of like you did?
Yeah, because you learn the business aspect, I would say. Maybe. I'm not going to lie. This is all I'm learning so much.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of the same thing with me. Like, and I think most trainers struggle there is like, we had our degree in exercise science. We know nothing about business.
Right.
And so, learning like the P&L statement and all that.
Sucks.
It does. But
I despise it so much. I shouldn't say that as a business owner, but and I'm doing all of it. Like, that's the thing.
For sure.
I've been in contact with insurance companies, like doing all of that. I'm like, when does this stop? I want to do the training part. Can I get someone else to do the business part? I just want to be a coach.
So, why did you ultimately stop teaching to pursue your career as a trainer? I know you kind of talked about burnout, but like...
What really started it was my time management. I had so much on my plate.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't until I sat down, because I went through a really hard mental time. Like I was going through don't want to use the term depression, but I was not happy.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was eating at me. And after several conversations, and I finally sat down one day because it was getting to me, and I wrote down a list what truly makes me happy. And besides, my son and my husband, my family, the next thing was coaching. And that's when I say coaching, I mean personal training and powerlifting coaching. People say to find your niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's so hard for me right now because I love working with moms. I love my powerlifters. I love the gym pop.
I think that's fine. I know that's what Kate does too. So
it's hard to find your niche. When someone was to tell me that, I was like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to really turn anyone away.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
But once I realized that, it kind of lit a fire in me, and it was actually a friend of mine. I had applied for a different job position through his company. And, you know, we went back and forth a conversation, and it made me start to think about, what if I just open up my own business? And everything just kind of flowed together. Everything kind of worked out. And
yeah, kind of similar to what you said. Like, I've been, you know, underneath some different gyms, and you know, I enjoyed my time there. Like, I love training clients and athletes and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you know, kind of like you said, like, you kind of have to do it for yourself at some point. If you ever get to the point where you feel like you're just miserable going into work, like, it's just kind of like, why am I doing this to myself? Yeah. And it's so crazy is like the amount of people I know that work a 9 to 5, hate what they do, clock in, clock out. Like, I just feel like that could never be me. And I feel like, I mean, we're both fairly young. Obviously, you have kids, so that changes it a little bit. But like,
just a switch.
Just a switch. But yeah, like, I kind of felt like I have nothing to lose if I just quit and walk away and start my own thing. And
see, that's what kept me from doing it. It took me longer than I had planned in my head. And like I said, I accepted the fact it was never going to happen. But I have so much fear. I still have fear starting this out. Like, that's one thing.
Sure. It's scary
because it's my family. That's on the line
for
right
sure.
now.
Yeah, it's not just you.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's scary, but like you said, those people that are miserable in their jobs, they make excuses. I hate to say that. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and I mean,
but it's also hard because
it is, and I guess everybody has different circuit. And me and Clayton talked about this. Like, there are some people that need a salary position so they can provide for their family.
Yes.
But like, the amount of people I know that have like zero responsibilities, but they stay in the comfortable situation, it's
getting in that discomfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
But how are you gonna grow if you don't do
that? 100%. Okay, so we're kind of talking about these topics, but like, ideal client, talked about, you know, powerlifting and general pop. Talk about the difference there, because those are two different things: powerlifting athletes and general pop.
Yeah.
What is kind of the difference there? Do you have a preference on what you like better, or do you like the change of pace?
I wouldn't say I like one more than the other.
For sure.
Because with my gen pop, what I do is I break down and we find your weaknesses or if they have any pain.
Yeah.
Where is that pain subsiding from?
Yeah.
What can we do to help alleviate that pain? Like, for example, I have this client, I've been working with her since 3-4 years. She's older, but when she first started with me, going up and down the stairs hurt her knees.
Wow.
So we did some PT exercises, slowly have gained that strength. She's going up and down stairs. She's lost a ton of weight walking. She averages out 15,000 steps. And at her age is really incredible. So I love seeing the progress on both sides.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They're both different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of excitement on each side too.
For sure.
Different ways, but
yeah,
there's wins.
Yeah, I agree. And I can kind of relate that to myself, because obviously I train a lot of high school and sports performance clients, but I do have my fair share of general pop that I train. And kind of like you said, it's not like, I mean, I love training athletes and high school athletes. And like, if you look at my Instagram, that's probably what people are going to see. I mean, a lot of people know me for that, but depends. Like, honestly, like an older mom, that may not be somebody I take on, but like, I have some college students that I train.
Yeah.
Who are technically general pop, but like, they're as consistent as can be, always show up on time, never late cancels. Whereas with the athletes, sometimes it can be a little seasonal. And I mean, really the reality is high school athletes are some of the most busy people with school, work. Some of them work jobs, some of them have practices. It can be hard to build consistency there. Whereas with the general pop, you really build some really cool relationships, and they're pretty much year round.
Very true. So. Yes, very true.
But they both have their pros and cons, like you said. So what is your training philosophy when you get a new client in the door? So somebody says, like, they come in, sign up for a consult, and they want to sign up for a training package. Like, how do you approach that?
My first question out the gate, first I say, like, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, right. Yeah, build a relationship.
Usual.
Yeah.
My first question is, if you could create the perfect trainer for you, what would that trainer look like? Yeah, not physically, but like, what character traits would that trainer have? And I don't know why that was the first question that came to mind when I started doing consults, but it's something that stuck. And a lot of my clients, when we do consults, they're like, I haven't even thought of that. And so then I come back and I say, well, I want to make sure that I'm the best suited for you, and I can provide something that's going to help you reach your goals and help you keep a sustainable lifestyle moving forward. And so that's where we start. And then we just kind of break down, I mean, ask about their background. But I've talked about too, if there's any injuries, pain, or I mean, I'm not licensed by any means, so if there's something that is consistent that they've had, send them to Clayton.
Yes, there you go.
Shout out Clayton again.
Yes.
But I just kind of find out their background, find out their mindset too. That's a lot of things I feel like we kind of overlook is where's this person coming from? Where's their mind at? Are they truly ready? Because you can kind of tell.
Yeah, you can tell easily.
Also, everyone's different. I have different questions based on the answers that I receive too. So that's kind of a hard question to answer.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it depends. Like obviously you might approach a powerlifting athlete differently than a general pop client. Yes. So I definitely understand that.
Yeah. Break down the basic movements, see where the weaknesses lie, and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Which do you prefer, one-on-ones or groups? And like, obviously you train a lot now. Like what would you say the majority of your sessions are? Is it one-on-ones? Is it groups?
It's groups.
Okay, nice.
I like groups because I love living in an absolute chaos.
Oh, yeah, it is. It can be chaos, yeah.
And with groups, when you have multiple people, there's no stopping.
No, there's not.
I do not have time to allow my mind to shut off, and I like that.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm constantly on the go. But I do like one-on-ones. We normally do one-on-ones if I have an athlete that is having an issue with a lift, or if we're recovering from something, or if I need to break down a movement, that's normally when we do the one-on-ones. Yeah. I have done one-on-ones with Gen Pop as well, but I've tried not push, but like I like to mention to them because being surrounded by other individuals, the motivation is a little different. The discipline's a little different. You have a little bit different of accountability when it comes to group settings. For sure.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the client. And like you said, there are, like, I do have some clients that maybe they're more introverted. They don't like the group sessions. And I understand that. But like you said, there are some people that, like, thrive in that setting. And they don't, there's some kids where, like, I train where they, super talkative with their other friends. And then, like, if I get them in a one-on-one, they're probably, like, that's not their jam. Yeah. So, and I think it also depends, like, kind of like you said, some people need that individualized attention. And honestly, from my training standpoint, it's hard because it's like there's the pros and cons. The group is typically more cost efficient for the client, and it's fun. There's more energy typically with being around other people, but sometimes they may not be getting the attention and the individualized program they need in a group setting. Right. So there's the pros and cons of both.
Yeah. That's where you kind of have to evaluate the client, evaluate the athlete, what's better suited for them. And I'm very flexible. So
there you go.
If I've got a client that is in a group setting and they approach me and they're like, hey, I really want you to help me break this, and this down. Okay, let's set up a one-on-one time and we can break that down. Yeah. So we can go back and forth too.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll talk more about the business side. So describe the challenges of running a new business.
Oh my gosh. There's so many.
Yeah, where do you even start?
I am a people pleaser. I'm going to start saying that right off the bat. So I also fill my plate way too much. Yeah. And so learning to control what I know I can control and let go of the things that I cannot control and trusting in the higher power, that's what I've been having to learn to do. Yeah. The other thing that has been really been hard for me is being a mom, because I battle mom guilt like crazy.
Oh, I bet. We'll talk more about that later, but like I can't imagine how hard that has to be.
Yeah, but organization, consistency, keeping a schedule has really helped me. Nice. I'm also very thankful for the support that I've had. Like,
it's incredible.
Right.
It's incredible.
In for instance, like my mom is who helped us find the location. Nice. And she helped work us through the lease. Yeah. And then my husband's been doing all the manual labor. Nice. Like they're doing that all week. Yeah, him and my father-in-law. Like it takes a village. I've heard that raising a kid, but it also takes a village to grow a business.
And that's like a kid, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's your baby.
Yeah. Which is so funny you brought that up, because the day before I became an LLC, this is probably so random, but this describes me to a T. I haven't dreamed in like 6 months. Okay. Because, my brain doesn't shut off. For sure. And I had a dream that I had a baby. And then the next morning, and it was like the doctor had told me it was the biggest baby he'd ever seen. The next morning, I was telling my dream to one of my clients, and she goes, well, you technically are having a baby because you're starting your business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. That's crazy to even think about.
It is very true. I mean, that's the way I think about it is.
Right.
My business is like, I'm going to put everything into that business. I want it to grow.
Yes.
I want it to thrive. I might cry a little bit if there's the downfalls, but yeah, there's the highs and lows of being a business owner.
Oh yeah.
How important do you think it is for trainers to understand business? Again, we talked about it a little bit, but like there's the sales, the marketing, the finances.
Yeah.
Like talk about that. How important do you think that is for trainers to understand?
So that is my biggest weakness. I'm going to be transparent about it, is the business side.
Yeah, probably same here.
And organization. I suck at organizing.
Yeah.
I absolutely suck at it. So I'm learning, but I'm using the grit and grace motto. I'm learning to give myself grace, but I'm also honest with myself that this is not my specialty.
Yeah,
it's
same
the business
here.
side.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it, but I also am aware that I'm gonna have to work a little bit harder at this.
Oh, for sure. It's a challenge for sure. And like I can relate to that a lot myself.
Right.
Like this month one, like I mean my back end, like my bookkeeping was just so unorganized. Like there's just so many like I don't know, just so many different transactions going through.
Yep.
People, I mean, I allow people to pay different payment methods.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, I try to think like there's money coming into the business.
Right.
It's profitable. But yeah, it's probably not the ideal scenario for a business owner.
But the other thing too to think about is you're just starting.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get to that point
Right.
where there's gonna be consistency, there's gonna be organization. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
So starting with the pure utter chaos is what I'm calling it. And then letting it kind of come together,
For
let the
sure.
pieces come together. You'll find that consistency.
Yeah, it's kind of like starting out as a trainer. Like you kind of just throw yourself in the fire.
Yes.
You learn as you go. It's the same thing with being a business owner.
Right.
So
Yes.
I think that's the best way to learn.
Yes.
So
yes.
I say imperfect action every single day is always going to beat no action taken at all.
Yeah.
How do you go about finding clients? Like that can be a challenge for
Right.
some trainers. So like, is it word of mouth? Is it referrals?
Yes.
Okay. Word of mouth.
Word of mouth has been my biggest strength right there.
sure.
And
It should be for everybody almost.
Right.
Honestly.
And I hate talking about myself like this, but like I get approached a lot. My husband has this ongoing joke that he can't go anywhere without someone knowing me.
That's a good thing though, honestly, because it's the same thing with me, kind of.
Right.
And it's like it's kind of annoying, but it's like I guess it's good.
It's kind of cool too. It's just like, oh hey.
Yes. Yeah.
It makes you feel good because it makes you feel like you've made an impact on someone else enough for them to talk about you in a positive light. So that's what's cool. But yeah, word of mouth has been, for me, how I've been getting a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And obviously social media.
Yeah, for sure.
Posting and sharing and then other people, your other clients sharing and posting.
Huge.
So yeah.
It's awesome. You train a lot of like derby, like do you train any of your former students? Do you train any staff? That's awesome.
Yes. A majority of my clientele. That's awesome. And I love it.
That's actually really cool. I mean, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with like, should you work another job?
Right.
As a trainer, and like I know there are people that's how they get their clientele is like they just train their faculty, the staff that work alongside them, and then that's probably a perfect position for you to be in with getting in front of kids and
that's exactly what I did. I hosted the summer before my first year teaching. I started the teacher boot camp.
Nice.
I hosted it because I wanted to give back to the teachers. I know firsthand the stress that they're under,
for sure.
and they don't get a lot in return.
No.
So I wanted to give something in return, also being a teacher myself at the same time. So the past 3 summers, I believe this is my 3rd summer doing it, it's been a free teacher boot camps twice a week for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm giving them workouts and pushing them through workouts. And that's something I want to continue. But obviously with the school year starting up, moving to the gym, that's going to change with the money aspect wise. But
sure.
I'm still, I'm trying to target more towards teachers because they aren't given.
Yeah, and that's probably that's like a niche, honestly. Like
that's true. That is true, and moms
awesome.
too.
Yeah,
I also
for sure. Yeah, talk about like you providing free stuff. Like, well, I mean, that's okay. Like, because I mean, I've done my fair share of free sessions and free speed clinics and free boot camps. Like, talk about how has that? Do you feel like you've gotten any return on investment?
Yes.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing with myself. Like, it's just like you never know what could come out of it.
This is something that's so small, but one of my athletes, she showed up one day, I think it was before I went to nationals, with a case of Celsius.
Nice, and that's a win.
And I was like, why are you bringing this to me? Like, thank you, but why are you bringing this to me? She goes, well, you do so much for us without anything in return. Like, it's the least we could do.
For sure.
And that made my whole day.
Yeah,
because I didn't have to buy Celsius for 2 weeks.
That's awesome. No.
So
that's awesome.
But yes, that's something so small getting in return. But
for sure.
I am a firm believer that what you you put out into the world, sooner or later.
Yeah, it will come back to you. Yeah. Yeah, and even something with me is even if somebody just leaves me a referral,
right,
or not a referral, referral or a testimonial, like a Google review, like that to me is a win.
Yes.
And some people may not view it that way. Some people may think you're devaluing your services, and I think you can to an extent. But I think finding that balance between free and paid services,
right, and you're also doing it out of the kindness of your heart. Like for me, that's kind of how I don't see it as a service either. I genuinely want to help you.
Yeah.
In any aspect that I can. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think about this. Like I love training so much. Like it's all like I try to say like I'm trying to give my athletes and my clients the best hour of their day, but it's also like the best hours of my day.
Very true. Yeah.
And I was thinking, I've thought about this in my past. Like there's times where I feel like I would pay people to train with me. Like I would lose money. I've never done that, but like I do think like I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
Like
this is something I want to do. I want you to come in.
Yeah.
I'll pay you $50. You come spend this hour with me. Let me put you through workout.
But no, it's like the fact that people are paying you, top dollar to train with you. It's pretty cool profession to be in.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, so you talked about social media.
Yep.
How important do you think this is for you as a personal trainer / business owner?
I hate social media.
Really? You
would never guess it.
No, I would never guess.
I don't.
It has its pros and cons.
It has its pros and cons. I shouldn't use the term hate. I don't hate it. I wish there was a better way that we could promote ourselves.
Yeah.
Granted.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a way that you can, I guess it's not that I don't like it for me. I don't like it for my
distraction.
athletes.
Oh, okay.
My athletes because I hear what they think self-comparison.
Oh, okay.
You have all of the perfection of everybody else right in front of you when you come to social media, and then it's really hard. I don't know I know as females it's harder for us. We go down that rabbit hole of self-comparison and stuff like that. Sure. That's why I don't like it. I love the community based of it. I love that you're able to grow relationships and you're able to learn from
for
each
other.
I think that's
no doubt.
Absolutely. And I'm constantly going down videos and just
learning
new movements and stuff like that. But but granted, I'm also, a lot of my athletes are females.
I think it is very important for personal trainers and business owners. Just it's free marketing.
Yep.
You get your name out, you tag clients and they'll share it to their stories. Right. People will DM you. But you're right. I think it can be distracting. Like, the hours I probably spent on social media is probably sickening. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, is this even worth the return on investment?
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong. I have had my fair share of clients sign up basically through social media.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, if I really logistically think about how much time I've spent editing reels and all this, it's like, I don't know.
It's a pain in the butt.
And like I said, everybody's different. Like, I know some people don't do any social media at all and they just kill the game. With word of mouth and referrals. And again, I think that it's always going to be better than social media is getting in front of people and talking to people and relationships. But I think I do see the value in social media.
Yes.
It's just finding that balance.
I shouldn't have said that I hate it. It's not that I've seen the negative side of social media. And I think that's why I've also had to set a boundary for myself, is because I'd get not caught, but there'd be some nights where I'd catch myself editing a reel because that's the only free time I have while my son's playing on the floor and I should be playing with him and not on my phone.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where we have a social media and I have a battle, but we've gotten better setting boundaries. So that's helped a lot.
Yeah, I guess what tips and advice would you have for somebody that wants to use social media for their business or as a new trainer? Like, what advice would you give to somebody?
That's a good question. Do not compare yourself to other trainers.
Yeah, that's right.
That's number one. And the reason I say that is because you tell your clients not to do the same thing, to not compare themselves to other people's journeys. You should do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm saying that, and a lot of people who know me are going to listen to this and be like, seriously, Maddie?
Yeah.
Because I do that. In all honesty, I do that, but it's so hard not to. But that would be the number one thing I would say is use it as a way to promote yourself, be transparent, be real, be raw.
I think if you really are real and show who you really are, people like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's something that I've tried to do because I've caught myself sometimes not posting videos because I don't like the way my body looks or something like that, and I've kind of overcome that. I don't give a crap anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't like what you see, then
just don't unfollow.
Just don't watch the video or whatever. So
for sure. Okay, so we'll talk about your family life. So they say that most successful trainers are single or don't have kids. So describe the challenges of having a family, being a newborn mom while being a business owner.
It's so
trainer.
hard. It's so hard. And we also took in an 18-year-old.
Oh, yes.
So we have a foster son. But he's actually been helping out a lot. He's been learning a lot.
Yeah.
He's really he's into weightlifting. He was one of my powerlifters from the get-go. So it's helped us a lot, but it's so hard. And I'm and I'm thankful for my partner.
Yeah.
Jordan. Like he's the one who pushed me to follow my dreams, and he's the one who is my constant reminder, and he'll listen to this and be like, seriously, you never listen to anything I say. I do listen to what he says. I'm so freaking stubborn though half the time, but one thing I've learned is to set boundaries. People will understand.
Yeah, especially if you have a kid.
Right.
Yeah,
if they don't understand, then maybe that's not the client that needs to be working with you.
Yeah.
So, and I've also learned to just be upfront with my clients. Like, hey, look, this is at this time I got to be done.
Yeah.
I've set a time. Every evening, 6:30 is the latest I will work. After that, I'm at home cooking dinner with Mav.
Yeah.
We've also, we deemed one night a week family night, Thursday nights.
That's good.
I get done at 5 on Thursday, and we go home. We normally get Chipotle.
Yeah.
And we all shower and we go downstairs and we watch a movie, and that's our family night. Awesome. So setting boundaries and keeping consistency with that, but also giving myself grace
for sure
has something I've been having to learn to overcome.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I don't think people realize that how hard it has to be with being a parent and also being a personal trainer / business. Well, personal trainer, especially because just thinking about myself and a lot of trainers, you're working the crazy hours, mornings, afternoons, evenings, you're programming, you're promoting yourself on social media. That takes time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, how are you going to also put in energy to being a good mom and being a good dad or whatever?
Imagine doing your training sessions with a little 2-year-old running around.
Yeah, and I felt like you got to be thinking, and like you kind of said, the guilt, maybe if you're spending hours in the gym, you might be thinking oh, I'm, missing out on, my son's life or something like that. So,
but I felt the same way when I was teaching.
And I'm sure it's probably the same way though too. And I think you said this to me is if you're with your son, maybe you're thinking man, I wish I was with my powerlifters or clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes both ways. But the hardest part, and we're still battling this, my evening classes, Mav and Jordan are at home, and Jordan will be lifting while my evening classes are going. So I'm having to, go both, but I'm so thankful for my clientele because they completely understand and they'll help.
That's awesome.
When they're on breaks in between their sets, I've got athletes that are out playing catch with my son.
That's cool.
But it's also we're showing how to reach your goals and to follow your dreams to him.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, I was like, I have a feeling that son is going to be a very athletic
he's a
kid. Yeah.
He's so advanced for his age. It's frightening.
Oh. That's awesome. That's awesome. I know there are some trainers and gym owners where they have kids and they'll bring their kids to work every day. And then the kids get to going on the training sessions, and then kid turns into a stud athlete, and it'll be cool to see if he wants to open up his own gym or be a trainer himself.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what he'll end up doing, to be honest. I know he will be into athletics because we're throwing things, we're running, but he jumps in on sit-ups, lunges, and I actually have a video of him and one of my athletes, Marissa. She's doing lunges down the sidewalk, and he ran up right next to her and started doing lunges right next to her. If that doesn't motivate you, having a little toddler wanting to be your shadow, then I don't know what will.
That's awesome. All right, we'll talk about hot takes. Why do you think the turnover rate is so high in the training industry?
I would say the work ethic.
Yes. Yeah. People don't realize the amount of the amount of sweat and work it takes to and like I said, usually make not very much in the beginning.
Right.
Like people don't want to do that.
Things are not going to get handed to you.
No, it's not. No. Yeah.
For instance, I was up at 4 this morning, and the reason is because I knew I wouldn't have time to make dinner.
For sure.
So I got up an hour earlier.
Oh, okay.
To make dinner.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I was also doing check-ins at the same time, finishing some programming. It's odd hours. Things are not going to get handed to you. You're going to have to take control.
For sure.
Of some of those things.
And I think that's why I post some of this today. It's like you should look at yourself as your own business. I feel like your fate as a trainer should ultimately lay in your hands. You shouldn't expect somebody to hand clients to you and do the work for you.
Right.
I've had my fair share of new trainers reach out to me and ask advice of how to build a clientele. And what they should do to build their career as a trainer. And, I'll tell them just what I did with like offering free sessions and working at the Y for 2.5 years and going out to networking events, making all these emails, phone calls. And like, I can just tell some people do not want to do that.
Right.
And it's really hard.
Oh, the emails.
Oh yeah. gotta love it.
Oh, the emails.
Yes.
If only 16-year-old you can see you now.
Oh, yes.
That's something, I don't know about you, but I always looked at that as, that's what business people do, is they're constantly on their phone, they're answering emails, and now you're one of them. And I'm like, okay, never thought I'd be in this position, but it's beneficial.
What can we do to fix the high turnover rate in the industry?
I mean, continue to be leaders in the fitness industry and continuing to be the realest us that we can be and transparent and honest and real and raw.
Yeah, 100%.
Showing the good, bad, and the ugly, like all of it, not just the perfect surface level.
Yeah, because I think some people probably look at you and I and they think, we're killing it, we're killing the game. And I'm just thinking like, absolutely not. And then also just like, they also don't see the work that we've done in before to where we've got to where we are today. And
very true. Yeah, and you know what? That's one of those things I've learned. Like, people can think what they want. If they think that I'm getting all these things handed to me, you have no idea. No idea.
Do you view other gyms and trainers as competition? Why or why not?
No.
Okay.
No. I've actually referred a few people to you.
Oh, I think you have.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's
awesome.
I'm a firm believer. We all have one goal. And that's to help everybody reach the best of them that they can. Healthy lifestyle, being physically fit, helping out with nutrition, athletes wanting to reach their goals. Yeah. And like you said, some clients that will fit me better may not fit you, but and it's there's so many people to go around. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Sharing is caring.
I agree. Yeah, so honestly, I just had Justice on the podcast. We're recording this now. His hasn't launched. But he did say that he thinks, other chiropractors, other trainers are competition. I get what he's saying to an extent, because I think you and I, we're maybe not so much competition, because I don't really train, women population like you do. Yeah. Powerlifters. Yeah. Whereas somebody that's doing sports performance training, maybe that's a little bit more competition towards me. But like you said, I mean, I can't train all the athletes in Wichita. Right. And I think competition drives us to be better. Like, seeing people kill it like that always motivates me to do better myself.
Yeah. I see it more as inspiration.
Yeah,
like to bring up Kate Jones. Yeah. Like, that's
technically, you guys worked with the same population, kind of.
Right. Yeah. But there's no way I'd see her. Yeah. If anything, I'm learning from her. Mm-hmm. Like, I call her my mentor. If anybody asks me about her, she's my mentor, because she's one of the first people, along with my husband, that's always told me that, I'm capable of following through with my dreams, and I still have her voice in my head telling me, Maddie, like, seriously. For sure. But I think we can learn from one another. We all have our strengths.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No same person has the same strength.
Yeah, 100%.
And if they do, it's in different ways.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with somebody, they were talking to me about, like, hey, who's your competition? Why should people choose you instead of a trainer down the road? And I thought to myself, and I hope this wasn't a bad answer, but I said, I think it's just me. Like, there's no other trainer Dave in Wichita. True. I don't think I'm the best trainer. Like, I think there's probably other people that know more than I do. Like I said, I think I do a good job of finding the balance between having fun and playing spike ball, and also working hard and teaching them the fundamentals of strength conditioning. Right. And that's why I think, again, you are your own business. Like, people don't care about the shiny dumbbells and, garage gyms. Like, people are coming to see you, and they like you, and they like the relationship and the accountability.
That's one thing I've definitely had to learn, because what really sparked all of this is when my athletes nominated me for the Trina Bayer Inspirational Wellness Award a year ago. And I was like, y'all are insane if you think that I am capable of achieving and getting this award. Little did I know that I was the winner of the award, and that it made me realize, like, the impact that I'm making, and that I hold myself to such a low standard that it was time for me to, have a little bit more confidence in yourself, Maddie. Like, why do you set such a low bar for yourself?
I hear you.
So it's But like you said, there is no one else like you.
Yeah, no, and I can attest that to myself, as I've always dealt with that imposter syndrome, like the doubts, like, do I really have what it takes to do this on my own? Right. But then, yeah, you kind of think about, like, I think about all the clients I've brought in myself at the past couple of gyms I was at, and, you know, going out to kids' games, doing all these networking events, posting on social media. I'm just like, I think I do. Like, I think I've proven it to myself, like, it's time to go do it.
Right.
And, you know, see if you're about it. And if you're not, you can always quit and just go back to, you know, I could go maybe do high school strength and conditioning if I wanted to, or something like that.
Well,
you know. Not that I want to do that, but
right.
like I said, there's always like the YMCA is still there. I could go back to the Y.
There's always that thought in the back of your mind, because I have gotten asked before if I'd ever go back to teaching, and my honest answer is no. Yeah. And it's not because I don't love teaching. This is going to sound bad, but the financial side. Mm-hmm. What I was putting in,
I'm sure I
was not getting out in return.
I'm sure.
So, you know,
no,
pros and cons, everything, I guess.
I hear you. Do you believe Wichita is oversaturated with gyms? Like, do you think there's such thing as too many gyms? Why or why not?
There's so many people in this town,
and
there's so many people in surrounding towns.
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, the amount of people that actually drive to see me, like West Wichita, Bel Air, Goddard, Derby, Mulvane, there's a lot of people that are willing to travel and pay a good price for somebody that can solve their problem.
Yeah. And I think going hand in hand with the whole competition base, like, every gym has its own environment and its own niche. Mm-hmm. And
for sure. Yeah.
That, you know, someone may feel better or more confident in one environment compared to a different one. So I don't think so.
Yeah. For sure. No, I agree. I think it's good. Like, this is a real example. I had a girl come to me for a consult, and she was more of a general pop, fitness client. So I wasn't trying super hard to sell her. And she told me that she had literally been to all these different gyms around town. Like, she was basically shopping around. I said, like, good for you. Like, you know, might as well.
Try it out,
find the best fit for you. And, like, I have no problem referring out to somebody if they're not the best fit for me.
Right.
I think that looks better on you long term, as opposed to
very true
faking it and trying to act like you're an expert in something you're not.
Right. I am, like, so upfront with all my athletes. If something comes up to the surface and I'm like, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea. Mm-hmm, Let's reach out to so-and-so.
Yeah, for
the amount of times I've texted, Clayton's going to get so many shout-outs of this podcast, but the amount of times I've texted him, like, hey, quick question, X, Y, and Z, and really quick shoots me a reply back. Like, we're all in this together. We're all working on this together. The whole competition thing, I don't believe in it. I don't really agree with that too.
For sure. All right. Future goals. What future goals do you have for yourself and Grit and Grace?
Getting the place opened up.
Nice. Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit.
That is my goal, is to get a smooth opening and just getting it opened up. I have not, like, I've thought of things.
For sure.
I've not taken the time to write down. I don't know if you write down or manifest, like, write down yearly goals.
No, it's funny. It just kind of. I do have goals in my head, but it's kind of like I don't set timelines. Like,
that's how.
If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I just don't know when. I hope that doesn't sound bad, but
no, I'm the exact same way. Like, I've done it before where I've written down goals, but I'm also like, this would be really cool, and I keep it in the back of my mind. Like, the whole podcasting thing.
Well, that's the thing, is this podcast was always like a bucket list of mine. Yeah. And I actually won a membership to the Colony here, like free membership.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole thing came about. Like, I didn't have it planned at all, and I know a lot of gym owners, like, they don't really have a set date. Like, maybe kind of like you said, maybe the location just pops out of nowhere, and then boom, it's time to go.
That's literally what happened to us.
Yeah.
Because I was only 1 month in, and it was my 4th of July boot camp. I had 10 people, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in a little garage.
That's awesome.
That was a lot.
I think 10's a good.
Right.
Yeah.
Jordan walks out of the garage, and I have them spread down the driveway. I have them spread out in the garage, and he's like, we need a bigger location.
Yeah.
So I mentioned it to my mom, and she starts sending me places, and we had actually been looking at a different location. And we had went and visited 3-4 times, started getting plans up. We were going back and forth with the lease. When the same day that we were going to sign the lease for that place, I said a prayer because I was super nervous.
Oh, I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that has to be.
Super nervous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear. I wasn't 100% sold on it, and not 30 minutes later, the post for the place that we just signed on popped up.
Wow.
My mom sent it to me. I had a showing 45 minutes later. I was in the middle of my lift.
Nice.
So I quickly ended my lift, went, met with her, and it was perfect.
That's awesome.
It fell in our lap.
Nice.
And everything's just kind of falling into place.
For sure. Yeah.
So we're putting in the work in the back end for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also like the grace of God that allows this to happen.
100%. Yes. That's our goal, is just get it up and running.
Nice. Yeah. I can't imagine how hard that has to be, even because like I'm sure you'll probably train at your garage gym at your house for the meantime, and then do you have a set date when?
Yeah. So the first week of school, which is the 14th through the 18th.
Wow.
We're taking that week off.
Okay.
And I'm going to be finishing up the place because we're moving cardio equipment in tonight.
Nice.
We're going to be he's tearing down a wall Wednesday through Friday. We're going to pick up more equipment this weekend.
Nice.
So that next week will be more of just like the tedious work that needs to be done, cleaning up, getting it kind of laid out and stuff like that. And then the first week of school is when I want to be doing the finishing touches, painting, laying down mats, organizing the place. And then the week after school starts is when I'm going to start holding classes there.
Okay, so this is actually coming up sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
nice.
I might be borderline psychotic. My athletes tell me that all the time.
Yeah.
Shout out Abby.
And you kind of have to be if you're a business owner.
Very true.
Yeah.
Abby tells me I'm psycho all the time.
Yeah.
But it, like you said, you have to be in order to be a business owner. But we're also kind of doing it one step at a time, though. It sounds fast, but we're not offering independent memberships until the grand opening at the end of October.
End of October, okay.
So, but we will be offering it to my current athletes and clients just because they've been with me forever, like for the past 3+ years.
There's always exceptions.
And they're all, majority of them are doing what they can to help as well to open this place. So it's the least, to see how it's running, kind of see the flow, see how classes are, big the space is, and then grand opening will end up offering up independent memberships.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where is the location exactly?
707 North Baltimore in Derby. Okay. It is right before the railroad tracks, right behind Radio Shack.
Okay.
Right now, it's a red garage door, but we're going to paint it purple.
Nice.
There's going to be a lot of painting.
How many square feet is it? Do you know?
1,500.
Okay, cool. So, like, do you want to eventually have trainers underneath you? Like, bring on trainers?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Do you know how you would go about doing that? Would you have them employees of Grit and Grace, or would you have them independent? You don't know.
I would.
Independent contractor.
I can't. It's 100% answer.
It's the same thing because I eventually want to bring coaches underneath myself.
Right.
I don't know how I would do it. Like,
I mean, I want them to be able to grow in themselves. So it would be cool to have them under G&G.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, I also, being in the positions we're in now, we thrive.
For sure. And I think everybody's different. Some people do like being told what to do and guided and stuff like that.
Yeah. Maybe offering both.
Maybe, yeah. I know there are some places that do that.
Like if you want the guidance, jump on board. Let's see what we can do together. But if you know what you're doing, I trust you. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, I have to trust you as a trainer.
Yeah, especially if it's your own gym. Like that's your baby. If you have a trainer that's terrible, like that does look kind of bad on you.
Yes.
So
that's kind of how Clayton will attest to this too. When he reached out to me, we started talking, and he tried to get me to come in for a consult or for me to start sending athletes. I was like, I want to know how you run things.
Oh, for sure.
I don't want to start, and that's how I was a supplement giant too.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I want to know how their supplements. I want to fully believe in what I'm promoting.
Like I say, it takes a lot to put your name on the line for somebody.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm promoting it, then
for sure,
I fully trust.
Same here.
What I'm promoting. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's really but just about everything. So
Sweet.
Appreciate you being on the show.
Of course. I've enjoyed it.
Where can we find out more about Grit and Grace?
I actually just started up our Instagram page, which is G&G Training LLC, and it's also known as The Garage. That's something I should have mentioned as well, is the business is under G&G Training, but the gym is going to be called The Garage because that's where we started out, and we want to keep it going. You can follow me at MADIJ19. It's Madi J19 on Instagram. I have a Grit and Grace page on Facebook. I'm also Madi Jenkins on Facebook. I have multiple different social media platforms. I'm horrible with TikTok. I need to get started going on TikTok. My kids the middle schoolers will
yes.
probably make fun of me because they come up to me. I've had to learn lingo like bussin' and what was the other one I learned the other day? Period.
Oh yes.
When you're done saying something, you have to say the word period. So I'm on TikTok. I couldn't tell you my handle at the moment because I don't remember. I think it's Madi Jenkins 19.
Okay.
MADI Jenkins 19. But those are all my handles. So
awesome.
Give me a shout out. I'm on Instagram and Facebook more than anything. And a lot of that is because that's where all my clients are. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But the gym is 707 North Baltimore Street in Derby. We are having a grand opening October 28th. I have a few things not planned, but like in my mind that I definitely want to do a raffle. I want to do a free workout, free boot camp, let people come in and have a free lift. I want activities. I want events going on during that and make it more of a community thing.
For sure.
More rather than just for the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I want it to be for Derby.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, yeah, appreciate you being on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Sweet.